work that organizations do every day in this coalition. It's really phenomenal. So let me just explain a little bit about what's going to happen over the next hour. In a moment, I'm going to introduce this exceptional panel. And then I'm going to put a few questions to the panelists and ask them to respond to their colleagues on the panel. And then we'd like to open it up for questions. And the way we'd like to do that is there is a gentleman in the back passing around file cards. So if you have a question, if a question is provoked by something that you hear, please write it down, raise the card, people will collect them. And then when we get to the questions, I'll try to ask as many of the questions that you have as possible so we can keep moving it on. So, without further ado, let me introduce the panelists. And to my left is Dahlia Lithwick. Dahlia is a senior editor at Slate, and in that capacity writes the Supreme Court dispatches and jurisprudence columns. She's a bi-weekly columnist for Newsweek. Her work has appeared in the New York Times, Harper's, the Washington Post, and Commentary, among other places. She received the Online News Association's Award for Online Commentary in 2001, and again in 2005, for a series she co-authored on torture, and was the first online journalist invited to serve on the steering committee for the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press. She is the co-author of Me versus Everybody, Absurd Contracts for an Absurd World, a legal humor book. And I Will Sing Life, Voices from the Hole in the Wall Gang Camp, a book about 7 children from Paul Newman's camp who have life-threatening illnesses. She lives in Charlottesville, Virginia, with her husband and 2 small sons. And welcome, Dahlia. We're delighted to have you. To Dahlia's left is Aron Bonin. Adam is a member of the law firm of Cozen O'Connor in Philadelphia, where his practice includes representing commercial victims of the 9/11 attacks and a portfolio of campaign finance and election law clients. He serves as chairman of the board of directors of Netroots Nation, which hosts, as you know, an annual conference and regional events on the intersection between online and political worlds. He also serves as co-chair of the Philadelphia Lawyers chapter of the American Constitution Society, which seeks to promote rights and liberties, genuine equality, access to justice, democracy, and the rule of law through a variety of events. And the one very interesting tidbit that Adam shared with me as we were preparing for this panel is that he has the distinct honor of having had Barack Obama as his election law professor. Welcome, Adam. To Adam's left is Maria Blanco. Maria joined Berkeley Law School on July 1st, 2007, as the first executive director of the Chief Justice Earl Warren Institute on Race, Ethnicity, and Diversity. Blanco is a Bolt alumna who brings more than 20 years of experience as a litigator and advocate for immigrant rights, women's rights, and racial justice. Blanco formerly served as the executive director of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights of the San Francisco Bay Area, where she oversaw litigation and policy work in the area of immigrant integration and rights, securing the right to vote and expanding the franchise, and African American civil rights. Prior to her position at the Lawyers Committee, Blanco served as the National Senior Counsel for the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund. Welcome. And last but certainly not least is Bill Lurye, who is an Associate General Counsel with the AFL-CIO, where he heads the AFL-CIO Lawyers Coordinating Committee's Judicial Project. The project, among other things, has studied the role of a judge's party affiliation in predicting the outcomes of labor and employment cases before the Federal Circuit Courts of Appeals, identifies and vets potential nominees for the federal courts, reviews the qualifications of potential nominees, and addresses potential litigation impacting the judiciary. From 1985 to 2007, Bill was in private practice in New Orleans, representing workers and unions. Post-Katrina, he helped establish a program to protect the new low-wage workforce in New Orleans from wage theft. He's a contributing editor to Employment Discrimination Law and previously on the Board of Reviewers of Employment Law Update. Bill is also a member of the College of Labor and Employment Lawyers. So join me in giving a welcome to this wonderful, wonderful panel.